FPL managers, today we are looking at the 7 best value players in the game in my humble opinion, so let's get right into it. We have 2 defenders, 3 midfielders and 2 forwards. There is also a lot of data abbreviations on the screen. If they confuse you, feel free to check the description. I have got you guys covered. First off, in defense, we have a 4.5 million defender, Konsa. Now, I recently did a video and said he was the best defender to own in Game Week 1. Now, from Game Week 1 to 6, I believe Aston Villa do have the best fixture run in the game. In fact, they play home to Burnley in Game Week 7, so Game Week 1 to 7, Aston Villa have the best fixture run. Now, these guys have an amazing home defence. They only kept 8 clean sheets last season, but they were 5th for expected clean sheets in the entire Premier League, higher than Nottingham Forest, who kept a lot of clean sheets. Now, this underperformance of clean sheets could be down to bad goalkeeping, it could be down to a series of misfortunate events. Either way, Aston Villa at home, you want to own their defenders, especially in Game Week 1 if Newcastle are losing Isak. If you look at their early fixture run, we won't go too deep into it now, but the games they play away aren't exactly difficult. So in the first 7 game weeks, we could be looking at a potential 3 or 4 clean sheets from Aston Villa. You know, we could also be looking at only 1 clean sheet. Who's to say? No one can predict the future. But I quite like the chances of Aston Villa clean sheet points, and Konsa is the cheapest, most reliable access point to this defense. Gabriel is the tied most expensive defender in the game. So why am I putting him as one of the best value defenders? Well, I think he's 0.5 million too cheap. He is from the best defense in the league. Arsenal kept 18 expected clean sheets last season, only keeping an actual clean sheet tally of 13, which is a massive underperformance. And honestly, I can't put my finger on why, but there were a lot of games where Arsenal would only concede like 1 or 2 shots on target, and it would be an absolute worldie. Ultimately, I think Arsenal were unlucky to not get the most clean sheets last season. And if Gabriel doesn't get injured like he did last year, he is probably going to end the season as the highest scoring defender in the game because his goal threat and even his assist threat is quite high. From corners, he can do a lot. He can flick it onto the back post or he can flick it on into the back of the net. Last season, he missed 10 games and still got 5 goal involvements. I can only imagine that number getting higher the more he plays. He's also a player you don't need to waste transfers on because, you know, you got Leeds at home, sure enough, almost a guaranteed clean sheet. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it. But then you go away to Liverpool and you think there's no chance. But with Arsenal, they'll probably park the bus and play a back 7 trying to get a 0-0 game. So Arsenal have the potential to keep a clean sheet against any team in the league. And in those sort of games, they're going to be looking at set pieces to score from. And, you know, Gabriel is the target man on their set pieces. So for me, it's a no-brainer to own this man, probably from Game Week 1 to Game Week 38, unless there's an awful fixture run or he gets injured. That does it for the defenders, guys. Let me know if you think I'm overrating Konsa or Gabriel. Let me know if you think I missed anyone down in the comments. It's up for discussion, you know. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying this is what I believe. In midfield, we've got 3 players. First one we got is Baleba at 5 million. Now, in every single FPL season ever in the past, he would be considered useless. But last season, he averaged 10 defensive contributions per 90, and midfielders need 12 per game for an extra 2 points. So imagine this guy across the entire season is getting, you know, 16, 17 games where he's getting an extra 2 points for the defensive contributions. He's going to get that 87 point tally up to above 120. And a 120 point season from a player costing 5 million is pretty insane value if you ask me. He may also get the odd goal involvement across the way, but you'd have to be very lucky to get a goal involvement from a CDM who's playing for Brighton. He's one of those players where he's not going to get big hauls that shoots you up in the ranks, but he's going to trickle points through, you know. It's sort of like passive income, but for FPL points, you know, around 50% of the time, maybe 45% of the time, he's going to get you a 4-pointer, maybe a 5-pointer with a clean sheet, maybe a 3-pointer with a yellow card. But he's going to be gradually getting you points, not in big amounts, but for a 5 million player, definitely insane value. So if you want a cheap player to enable you to buy more expensive players, say you want to double up on Salah and Haaland, say you want to own 3 premiums in Palmer, Isak and Salah, this is going to be a great option for you guys. With that being said, Anderson coming in at 5.5 million is well worth the extra 0.5 in my opinion. If you can afford it, will most likely be in the top 3, top 2 midfielders for defensive contribution points by the end of the season. As you can see, he's averaging a similar amount to Baleba. With Anderson playing for Nottingham Forest, even when they dominate games, even when they play against newly promoted teams, they are going to be out of possession a lot of the time, and they are going to be getting more defensive contributions from that. Similar to Baleba in the sense he's not going to get you big scores, but it's going to be, you know, a passive income version of FPL points where he's getting you the odd 4, 5, 3-pointer. The difference is for that extra 0.5 million, he's going to be getting you more assists. There will be a game next season where he bags an assist, he gets 2 points a minutes, and 2 points for defensive contribution points. Maybe even a couple bonus points too, which isn't the biggest score in the world, you know, it's around 10 points. But when you've got a 5.5 million player scoring you 10 points, and the few games after he's scoring you 4 points for defensive contribution points, maybe 3 points for getting a clean sheet, overall, that's insane value for a 5.5 million player. And he could be ending the season on 130, 140 points if he plays similar to how he did last year. The final midfielder we got is Kudus. Now, this guy isn't a centre mid or a CDM. He is a right winger. He is an attacker who I believe is good value. The bottom line with this guy is, if he's starting every game, which I believe he will to begin with, he is easily the best value midfielder in the game. If he plays poorly, then he may be a minutes risk. He may start on the bench. He may get subbed off early. But Spurs spent a lot of money on this guy. And while last season he wasn't great, the season before he was immense. So we know he can be a good player in the Premier League. It's just West Ham in general weren't anything spectacular last season, let's be honest guys. He won't be getting many defensive contribution points at all, maybe once across the entire season if he's lucky. Under Thomas Frank, I don't think he'll be playing as a wing back. I don't even think Thomas Frank will play a back five like he did at Brentford, but he might. Either way, I believe Kudus is going to be playing as a right winger or a right inside forward. All you need to do is monitor him and make sure he is going to be getting you reliable minutes from game week 1 onwards. There's not a lot of good attackers to contest him in that Spurs attack. You know, Brennan Johnson's all right. Who else is there? You know, Kulusevski's injured for God knows how long. Looking at forwards now, guys, we are going for another Spurs player. Now, I only put Solanke here for one main reason, and that is that Son is most likely leaving the club, and that puts Solanke first in line to penalties. For a 7.5 million forward, playing for a fairly decent team. I know they finished 17th last season, but Spurs are going to finish higher this season. You've got a 7.5 million player playing for a good attack. Absolutely no minutes risk because there's not like a single striker at that club who can actually play instead of him. Also very Premier League proven. I mean, last season he wasn't amazing, but playing at Bournemouth, we know how good he can be. You put penalties on this man, he could be looking at 15 to 20 goals this season at only 7.5 million. To me, with the fixture run he has, playing home to Burnley in game week 1, that is the utmost no-brainer. Him versus Pedro was a good battle, you know, both 7.5 million, good forwards. Now Solanke has penalties. He has taken a level above Pedro for me. And I think he is one of the, you know, must-own players of FPL for game week 1. Final player of the video, we have Raul Jimenez coming in for similar reasons. A cheap player who is on penalties, playing for an all-right team. The fixture run ain't great. They do have Leeds in game week 4, which is awesome for Raul Jimenez. He takes penalties. He gets okay expected goals. I mean, at the end of the day, you play for Fulham, you can't expect a lot. The expected assists here are quite low as well, but he doesn't shy away from getting assists. There were periods of last season where the expected assists in certain games were higher than his expected goals. The only reason I'm a bit shy of picking Raul Jimenez is because Muniz is there, but Raul Jimenez is easily the preferred option. I don't even think he's going to be playing low minutes. There will be games where he plays the full 90, but even 70, 75 minutes from this guy, with the threat of penalties, with the fact he never really underperforms his expected goals and he's fairly consistent, I think at 6.5 million, they underpriced him just a little bit. I think if he was worth 7 million, no one would even bat an eye and he would still be in people's FPL teams. As you can see, his ownership is incredibly low at 2%. And to be fair, that's reasonable. Like, you've got players like Solanke, who I said is a must-own. Yeah, Pedro, who is also very good. And you've got people that want Haaland in their teams as well. There's a lot of players you could pick instead of Raul Jimenez, considering there's only 3 forward spots. But at 6.5 million, you've got so many good players. Kudus, Ndeye, Raul Jimenez, Welbeck, so many good options to choose from. Even if Raul Jimenez doesn't turn out to be the player you want him to be, it's not like it's going to be hard to transfer someone else in. You've got so many options. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of my selections. Do you agree with me? Who did I put in this video that you think is actually overrated? Who do you think I missed? Do you think I left out any insanely good value players? If you do, let me know in the comments, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.